You've noticed the word TerraClean come up again and again over the last 3 years on Dream Car Garage. TerraClean is simply an upper-end cleaner. Here at Sean Highland Motorsport, we thought we'd hook up a Marauder that you're also very familiar with, and the most ubiquitous rent-a-car of all times, the V6 Mustang, as a high-performance and a medium-performance car. Bring in the TerraClean guys themselves and all of their instrumentation and try to quantify exactly what TerraClean does.
TerraClean, Tom, is a new technology that is designed to aim at and target the real problems that exist today with gasoline, and that's carbon and the buildup of carbon. I find it very interesting that you have both high performance and the regular street driver that you're using for demonstration purposes today. As you probably know, the high performance engines take a higher octane gasoline, typically 91, 93 octane. Unfortunately, though, they also build carbon much more rapidly than a street-driven vehicle that uses a lower octane gasoline that also builds carbon. And when the carbon starts to invade the spark plug and the backside of the exhaust valve, the efficiencies of that engine drop off dramatically. Most people don't recognize it because it takes a long time for that to happen. TerraClean attacks carbon unlike anything else that's ever been proven today, simply by fractionalizing the molecule. We use a modified gasoline, a molecularly modified gasoline, where we've increased the aliphatic, of course, carbon as it builds up on the backside of an exhaust valve. If we think of an engine similar to a pump, it allows it to leak. And as it leaks, it loses proficiency and efficiency. As we attack the carbon and remove it by a process called coulombic fractioning, as it flows through our machine into the vehicle, it goes through a fractionalization process with an electrical charge. As it fractionalizes the molecule, it superimposes a negative charge onto the molecule. As it enters the combustion chamber, carbon has a positive charge, so they're drawn to one another. And when they touch, it oxidizes the carbon particulate into a vapor. Not only do we get to the combustion chamber where the valves and the pistons and the spark plugs are cleaned and decarbonized, but we also travel back. And we decarbonize the O2 sensor and the catalytic converter. So it extends the life of the O2 sensor and the catalytic converter at the same time.
Although TerraClean actually does a lot, it operates very simply. And we'll get ready to dyno both cars, take some baseline numbers, and compare them to new numbers after TerraClean. We'll do all of that next week. Last week, we did a dyno run on both the Mustang and the Marauder. The Mustang made 140 horsepower and 192 foot-pounds of torque. The Marauder, 260 and 274, respectively. Now, the whole idea is we'll run it through the TerraClean process and see exactly what happens.
We have with us today some people from First Look. They're known throughout the world for their diagnostic equipment. We're going to be looking at, first of all, the 5-gas analyzer, which is going to be giving us information of all kinds of spectrum, the power of the engine, how much hydrocarbons it's developing, what the O2 looks like, looking at the pulses of the fuel injector, that is, as they are randomly firing. We're looking at the patterns of the pulse of the injectors. We're looking for improvement there. We're looking for combustion, improvement in combustion through the cylinders, through the tailpipe of First Look's equipment. It's very sophisticated, and it does a job that no one else has been able to provide up until now.
The actual results after the TerraClean process on the Mustang were we picked up 8 horsepower and 7 foot-pounds of torque, and that was immediately after the process. On the Marauder, we picked up 9 horsepower and picked up 8 foot-pounds of torque. Again, this is immediate. Now, if we take a look at some of these graphs that have generated by our data team, we see that TerraClean's injector flow patterns are much, much better after the process. The D-cell test and the snap throttle test both show dramatic improvements. When we look at combustion balance, we show slight variations before and much, much more uniform after TerraClean. So, better fuel injector performance, better snap throttle performance, better D-cell performance, better performance in the combustion chambers, better mileage, better horsepower, better torque. All of this from a process that involves this little machine and these 2 cans. We can prove this. We have empirical data. If I could just find where we wrote it down, I could send it to you. At the end of the day, there's no question in my mind that there's a better seat of the pants feel. We've talked to the geeks. They've shown you the data. We've seen better emission numbers. We've actually seen better horsepower numbers, especially when it comes to high performance. We've got a mileage story to tell, and we're in the midst of a mileage test now. We'll put the data on the website by the time you see this. But at the end of the day, I've got to ask you, is there anybody with a can or a bottle of stuff that you pour in the gas tank that can do better than these guys have done?